Chapter 35, The Missed Opportunity. Now looking up at Latoya, Michael saw an old flame and then heard Into the Night by Benny Mardones playing on their system. Wow, Latoya, nice mixtape you got there. How many more songs you got about longing for someone? I can see where you're at in your love life today. He looked at her and now decided it was time to test that theory, test her waters again to see just how much more meaningful the old touch could be compared to the new one. So then, looking up at Latoya, Michael smiled up at her familiar lips, that familiar touch, and decided he wanted to be a part of it again. He wanted to see how much more meaningful sex would be with her for him compared to all the other women he had been with within just the last month or so. Okay, time to get into character. Time not to be so contemplative, so deeply, and go all stupid mode. Hey Latoya, how are those sexy lips of yours there doing? Asked Michael as he went full stupid mode on her to see what her first reaction would be. Latoya rolled her eyes quickly and smiled with some enthusiasm, but also seemed she had a lot of questions before allowing Michael to entertain her with his wooing attempts. Oh, come on, not now. I got a good build-up here. Don't ask me stupid questions I don't care about, and please don't bring up Nikki. Michael, you say you wanted to see Madboy, right? Asked Latoya. Yeah, said Michael, feeling glad that she didn't. Then Latoya eyed Michael in a bit cold and distant-like, and it reminded Michael of how Nikki had eyed him that one visit. Oh, this doesn't look good. So, Michael, do you want to see Nikki too? Asked Latoya. Shit. And there it was. Michael had fooled around a lot with Latoya back in the day, with a lot of women actually, and all while he was still seeing Nikki. Eventually, she was going to go cold on me. We had been together for some time then, but I always felt like it was eventually going to go down that road. No, just him, responded Michael. That's it? That's why you were at Stumpy's, and I heard that place was set on fire afterwards. Michael felt like rolling his eyes, but caught himself before doing so. Yeah, I know, it was a group called the Iron Monkeys. Yeah, I know about them, interrupted Latoya. Michael decided not to say anything as he held up his smile for a second, knowing she might have more questions, but not wanting to give her the sense that it should matter. Michael, you didn't have anything to do with them, do you? Did you? Gasped Latoya. Oh, great. No, Latoya, of course not. I've never even heard of them until tonight, insisted Michael, hoping she would drop that concern as quickly as she had picked it up. Well, I know, but it's also kind of strange that you appear after all this time, right as just a coincidence. Never even heard about these guys, and this whole age of rage business. Until Sadboy told me about it, hammered in Michael. Latoya smiled and seemed relieved. Remember what you taught Tomboy. If you want sex, let them know it. It's that simple. You know, you look really beautiful under this light. Really highlights all your features. Teased Michael as he made a dastardly smile and began chewing on some bubble gum that just now magically appeared in his mouth. Latoya shook her head, seeing how corny Mike was getting, all on purpose, since he was looking anything but, sitting there with his pecs and biceps beginning to bulge up some. And knowing Michael, Latoya knew exactly what that meant. Still a little too corny even for my taste. Ha! Okay, brought out Latoya, trying to recover from that. Oh, don't become that way. You like this. No, I mean it, Latoya. You look marvelous. Wait, dished Michael, turning his head to one side and biting his bottom lip. Marvelous? What? Where'd that corny bit come from? Fucking Billy Crystal and his corny ass shit. I need to change up character. James Dean. Yeah, that always works. Fucking Billy. Do I look just as marvelous as I did back when you were still saying Nikki? While saying me? Asked Latoya, raising an eyebrow. Actually, James Dean is not going to work at this point. That awkward yet cool shit, you use him when you first meet a girl and if they're nice and sweet type and also innocent. And when you just meet them, and Latoya already knows me, and Latoya already knows who and what I'm all about, and she's anything but innocent and knows I ain't either. Just be your regular horny self. You look more so, said Michael. Michael continued smiling while building up his tense of physique, showing off all he was willing to bring next, kept it up while waiting for that special glimmer in her eye that marked her memory of the good times he and she had had together. But as for Nikki's question, Michael knew better. It was a man trap to kill his libido. But it really shouldn't matter, for I know and she knows really there's nothing I should feel regretful and ashamed about. Latoya had played just as much of a guilty party having gone under the sheets with a tagged man as I had, being that man. So Michael knew there was only so far she could go with it. Michael wanted sex. He knew it, and he knew she knew it now too, but Michael also knew, first off, he needed to fuse the Nikki matter before he could start making his moves on her again. I don't want her to be thinking about Nikki and me when I take her. That's just going to kill the mood. Latoya, Nikki was a sweet girl and I loved her to death, but sweet girl? We talking about the same person I knew? Gasped Latoya, surprising Michael. What? She was a sweet girl from what I remember, spoiled and controlling, but sweet. Let me finish, said Michael. Fine, go ahead, responded Latoya, growing weary. Nikki, I loved her to death, but she was never going to stay with me long. You did know that, right? I mean, a material girl like her with a book of her daddy's credit cards in her purse, something like that was never going to last. Michael watched as Latoya nodded on that behalf, but then shook her head as if to disagree. What, you knew something I didn't? I mean, me and Nikki were together and I was also with you, plus a lot of other girls on the side. We were all doing it for fun back then, so were you. I mean, we were all a bunch of stupid, horny kids, explained Michael with a small chuckle at the last bit, and seeing Latoya now make a mischievous-looking grin considering all the dastardly parts she had definitely played there, all quick, then quickly concealing it. All of that was enough to give Michael confirmation that he needed, all the confirmation that he needed that he was getting to her. Really fucking stupid bunch we were, joked Michael again as he closed his eyes and gave Latoya some breathing room. Gotta pace it. After a moment, Michael then opened his eyes and saw Latoya glimmering in that moment they had shared, and now he knew he had her there. And now he felt like bringing up one last bit before sealing the deal. Anyways, I always liked you, Latoya. And I always thought to myself when time came that I didn't feel like fooling around anymore, if there was any girl I would want to be with, she'd be you. Michael then tilted his head while being all beamish and smiled at Latoya, but then realized the girl was still not buying it completely. She's really become resilient over the years. Smooth, real smooth, said Latoya, a bit coy-like. Michael now understood that Latoya might have been holding on to something against him, as he now began to wonder what. Oh, come on. You know there's more to it than that, right? I saw your face lit up when you saw me at Stumpy's, said Michael as he began to wonder what Latoya had on him. Yeah, but you know what, Michael? I didn't see your face light up much at all when you saw me. You saw mine, disclosed Latoya, but still seemed to be holding on to something else back. That stung Michael a bit, though, as he came to terms with the fact that he hadn't given her the most welcoming greeting, along with everyone else at that joint. But then again, he knew he had feelings for her, and he knew that meant something. He needed to express it if he was going to have her tonight. Well, I guess I had a lot on my mind at that time, but I really was happy to see you, responded Michael, opening his brow suggestively. I know, Michael. Michael felt like it was about time to set up the execution. Do you still have feelings for me, Latoya? Asked Michael. Latoya didn't say much, but smiled a bit, looking to one side like a child would. Please, tell me. asked Michael, all sincere like. I need to know. Latoya began to whisk her head around like a child again and seemed a bit afraid now to look Michael in the eyes, knowing once she did, she'd surrender to them. You want sex, Michael? Asked Latoya haphazardly. Fuck yeah, I do. Responded Michael, spreading his legs while still sitting all relaxed and leisured like. At this point, Latoya completely turned around to hide whatever she didn't want Michael to see. Michael allowed it and now knew he had to remind her how it was. You got someone in your life right now, Latoya? Asked Michael calmly. Latoya shook her head. Do you still like me? Latoya did a faint nod. Do you like the times we had back then? Latoya definitely made a nod this time, even though still haphazardly. Michael placed his hand on Latoya's left calf and began to massage it. Latoya, remembering the old touch, quickly arched her back and then tensed up that calf as it began to pulsate. And as it did, Michael began to remember her, remembering the old moments, the old touch, that magical old touch, and feeling it again and seeing how Latoya was vibrating had Michael vibrating now too, as diamonds in the skies began appearing, spinning, glimmering, shimmering, and dancing. As a total eclipse of the heart began to play on the hi-fi stereo. Demure Latoya, always wanting to give in so quickly, thought Michael. Also, all too soon, as he misjudged the magic moment that was happening, as Latoya then went on to the offensive. What about Nikki? Asked Latoya. Michael said nothing at first, but after a small awkward pause, held with an awkward smirk, said, Latoya, I haven't seen Nikki since I went in. We don't have anything anymore between us, explained Michael, hoping it would stick. But then Latoya turned around and now Michael felt afraid to look her in the eyes. Latoya, that was years ago. Right now, I'd like to maybe see if there can be. What about Nikki? Asked Latoya again with the same tone and texture, while watching Michael like a hawk. Michael now began to grow mad. What about her? Snapped Michael. What is this? You trying to be mean to me or what? Latoya, what about Nikki? Again, said she, and this time really stamping it out. And now Michael began to really lose his cool as he fidgeted around with his expressions, going this way, going that way, and unwilling to face Latoya directly. What about her? She blew me off the last time I saw her. She blew me off the last time she saw me. That's all that there is to say, expressed Michael, but then expressed something else while getting that feeling of kissing his rosary. And as Michael looked up at Latoya, he saw his defeat. As Latoya smiled a disheartened smile and began to nod as if she had come to a conclusion that most definitely involved disowning Michael in that special way that made things less special. And that had Michael go. It's been years, Latoya. I feel nothing for her, bellowed he as he startled Latoya in the process, completely changing the moment into something else. Latoya said nothing as she began to step away. Fucking bullshit. Fucking bull. At this point, Madboy just felt like leaving Latoya behind, exiting out of her well-to-do joint and presence. For it seemed to him that she was willfully being unfriendly towards him over shit that didn't matter anymore, considering all the years that had passed, making it ancient history. Is she jealous about me and how Nikki were together over ancient history shit? Does she think I would still have feelings for her? I mean, all I got from her in the end was a sense of loss. The same sense you're giving me now, Latoya, and that's not fair. Michael sighed. So much for the old sensation. There's nothing left of it. But then his feelings turned desperate. No, I want it still. Maybe I can find Annabelle again and fucking. As Michael began swaying his eyes back and forth with his swaying thoughts, the first object his eyes decided to pick up on then was the door. So if it's going to be like that, huh? Fine, catch you later, whatever. Catch you later, maybe. Michael then looked at the door and nodded to himself in agreement. He still had business to take care of with Madboy, and Michael began to think maybe it was better to stick to the main mission he had set himself up for tonight than to stick around and have another woman in his life give him the cold shoulder, which was practically what LaToya was doing to him right now. I can get with any chick I want anytime. If you don't want something more meaningful, LaToya, something that we might have cherished, really fucking cherished, I mean, since it would have meant that much to me, then that's all there is to that, I guess. Your loss, honey. Enjoy your fucking music. There was also the fact which dawned on Michael just now that if he was to decide to give up the chase tonight, by tomorrow, Michael might have lost all his opportunity to find Madboy to do that settling old matters straight business. I know exactly where he is now. By tomorrow, I'll be back to square one, and I might not get another opportunity like this one to catch up to him. Okay, fine. It's gonna be like that, I guess I'll... No, Michael, don't leave, called out LaToya as she broke out of her gloom and had a look of pure concern on her face. What now? I'm not playing games anymore, thought Michael. Michael, I'm sorry for what I did, spoke out LaToya. Michael looked at LaToya up and down and wondered what she was talking about. Sorry about what? Asked Michael, unsure of what she meant. If you didn't want to come across as being all cold towards me, then why did you? Michael, I feel like I can't... You can't what? Demanded Michael as he eyed LaToya for a better response. Michael, I wasn't trying to be mean to you. I just needed to see something for myself, responded LaToya and smiled. That, though, threw Michael off, for the smile seemed genuine and uncold, which got Michael to smile also, but too quickly as he then shook it off in revolt. I don't get it. Michael, I can see there's certain things in you right now that you need to figure out for yourself, but please believe me when I say I wasn't trying to be mean to you, expressed LaToya. Oh, great, more riddles. What else does she have for me? And now LaToya got serious with her motives. Michael, I don't want you to leave. You can stay if you want. Actually, I want you to stay, insisted LaToya as her face filled up with a bit of dread. Why? Asked Michael as he began to wonder what the concern was. But then Michael saw LaToya's eyes pan out towards the window, and he saw fear embrace them. Michael then knew why LaToya wanted him not to leave. At least not for the moment. It was obvious the events of this night had really begun to frighten her, and LaToya was at least feeling some sense of safety with someone else inside her apartment. LaToya, I'm sorry, but I need to leave. Michael, haven't you been seeing all the craziness going on outside? With buildings up in smoke? I've been watching from my window and on TV all night long. I mean, it's dangerous out there, and you know what? I haven't felt safe here in my own apartment since. Michael said nothing as he watched LaToya begin to panic at the thought of him leaving. And seeing her like this, Michael at least now felt he couldn't leave her alone, giving the possibility that something might actually happen. Might not have given you a warm greeting when I saw you, but I still do care about you. LaToya began to grow aghast over the thoughts now entering her mind. She knew feeling safe inside her apartment was really just her false sense of security. And now hearing that Michael wasn't willing to stick around made her feel like leaving with him. She was now afraid to be alone, and she knew it was only a matter of time, possibly, before her building went up in smoke. A possibility she wasn't willing to now gamble with. She needed to act and act fast. Michael, come with me. I have a Pinto down in the garage. Let's just leave the city. This was the second person in Michael's life tonight that had now asked him this. Michael didn't have a lot of friends left, really, and he felt enticed to take her offer. I can't. I have to do something first. And when I come back, we'll leave. Michael, I'm being serious. I want to leave now, but not alone. Michael began eyeing the door again, but felt like he at least made up his mind that he was going to take her with him. But as to where to, he knew. LaToya then ran over to the window with a look on her face as if she was expecting fire and brimstone to start raining outside.